Welcome back. In this tutorial we're going to take a look at the tool inside Panzoid called Video Editor, and it is a very powerful tool with a lot of cool features. In my folder inside I have a bunch of videos and a bunch of assets that we've done in previous tutorials, like the background intro, and we also have the this little test that we did when we were using Clipmaker, our intro, and we have our outro, and we also have a few 1080p clips that we're gonna use. Here's Max and Sasha taking a stroll, and here's some people riding a skateboard, and here's some people doing some tricks, BMX tricks on and this one was shot in slow motion. I have a shot of a pier, Santa Monica Pier, and we're just gonna on here one of Vegas, just like this. We're gonna combine all these shots together. We're gonna do a cool edit. We're gonna learn all the features. So yeah, join me. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the image here to launch the video editor, and this is what the interface looks like. So just like the previous idea, we have the previous videos, we have a viewer. This time we have like a timeline where we can add videos and video, audio, and images to stack them on top of each other if we want. But we also have the project media. This is the first tab that we're gonna use, and the very first thing we want to do is import all the stuff that we had in that folder. So I'm just gonna click on the import button, and I'm gonna go into my Panzoid folder, and I'm gonna select them all, even the audio. These are two songs that I downloaded from the YouTube Creator Studio. So I'm just gonna select everything, and I'm gonna open it, and that's gonna load everything onto my media tab. So I have everything here for me to start working on whatever I want to do. So the way it works, we're going to talk about all this stuff later on: the text, the adjustment, and the 3D scene. The very first thing I want to do is to drag a clip onto my timeline, and there's no way to preview anything, so I have to drag, edit, to be able to see what kind of edits I'm gonna do. So in this case, I'm gonna drag my intro, which should be here, intro. I'm gonna drag it on my timeline, and I'm gonna edit it. So this is the very first clip we're gonna use. So if I want to move in time, I just hit the tab, I mean the spacebar, and yeah, around here. So I don't like the audio for this one, so I'm going to remove the audio. I'm going to select the clip, and I'm going to use this icon right here to unlink it, and then I'm going to click away, and I'm going to click underneath, and I'm going to hit the delete key to delete that audio. And to make a cut, I can either do this icon right here, or hit the letter C. So I'm going to hit it here. I'm going to click away, and I'm going to select this portion, and I'm going to use the delete key, and then I'm going to move this one in, and that's going to be the beginning of our intro, like this. And if I want to zoom in and out, I can use the key, which is the plus sign. So I'm going to hit shift plus, okay, so I don't need to hit shift, just plus. There you go. And I'm just gonna add a quick fade later on, but I'm gonna cut it here at the end, just a few seconds. And another way to cut is I can position my mouse here at the end and just move it to where I want it to end. The next shot I want to use would be the one with Max and Sasha walking around, and I'm gonna drag it on the timeline just to see how everything works and what part of the video is the one that I need. So I want something around, let's see, around here. This is the one that works best. I'm gonna cut it with the it's just selecting this, just that way it works faster, and I'm just gonna go all the way until he disappears there. So we have a good chunk here, and I'm gonna select it and move it besides my intro. The next clip we're gonna take a look at might be this one, the guys with the skateboard. So I'm just gonna drag the whole clip, and I'm gonna do the same operation to find what part I want. Maybe this is the most steady part right here. So yeah, let's just cut it there, and I think around here. That's a good cut. And the next clip I want to use would be the bike. No, maybe the Vegas thingy here. I'm gonna drag this one. This time I'm gonna hit the spacebar to let it play. You can hear the sound. So the sound is very strong, but we're gonna fix the sound later in the next tab. But for now, let's just bear with it. So around here is where it's kind of like steady, and this was shot with an iPhone in 4K. I just reconfirmed that clip because I had some problems with Panzoid Video Editor handling 4K. So we have this clip here, and we're also gonna do the bikes here. I'm gonna drag it, and I'm gonna find what part of the video I want. It's always after this guy, and I want to get this guy jumping. I'm gonna use this time the arrows back and forth to move in time. So on my keyboard, I'm hitting the arrows to find exactly the point where I want to cut. Cut. So right here should be fine. Yeah, there you go, right there. That's great. And this time we're gonna use the keyboard shortcut C to cut. But I have to have my clip selected. Clip selected, hit the C key. This one, hit delete to delete that very first part, and then we're gonna move in time around there. And the idea is that I want to have about a minute of video to see that everything works, that like all the heavy edits that we do to show you that when we render that should work fine. And we have that one there, yeah. And then we're gonna move on to our last clip. Could be, I think we only have one left, which is this one, the pier. And for the pier, we're gonna move around here, and that should be good. We also have, I want to include this clip here, the one that we did in our weird, or I don't know, like this guy here. So I'm gonna include it from Vegas here. So what I want to do, I can either move it up and move the audio one down and move it together and just stack it on top of the other one. So when we play it back, but in this case, I think I want to move it all the way to the end. I just wanted to show you that that was possible. And then we want to add the outro, and just edit the outro here to where it's there, and then all the way to the end. There we go. So we have about a minute, almost a minute. Let's see, maybe we can expand the pier. I'm gonna select them all to expand the pier and just get an exact minute to make sure that we have almost there. So just a tiny bit more. That's too much of the pier. Well, whatever. So more than a minute. I'm gonna put them close together, and we have a bunch of clips together, and that's awesome. We have like a basic edit there, and now we're going to take a look at the other stuff that the video editor has to offer. So if we go to this tab, this is the properties tab. So this is cool because we have the clips match everything here, but if your clips don't match this, it is very important that you set these to the proper size and frame rate so that you don't have any glitches or crashes with Panzoid. Alright, so the way our next tab works, the edit tab, is we need to select an actual clip to make it work. So I'm going to select the dogs clip and I'm going to select the edit tab, and basically here I can keyframe any type of stuff that I wanna add or do. So I can control the position of the clip, I can control the scale, so I can scale it here if I want. Let's just leave it at let's just leave it at 1. I can control the rotation of the clip, and it is very powerful. And the blending mode, if we have two images stacked together, so in this case, why don't we we go back to our media and import that background, and we stack it here, and then we'll see the background here, that the one that we did in backgrounder, and we go back to our edits tab, and in this case we're going to tell the blending mode to be overlay. So we have some weird looking stuff there if we play it. Alright, so we can stack and control here in the edit everything, the opacity. If this is too much for this particular clip that I have highlighted, I can lower the opacity, and that's gonna help a little bit, you know, but I like it full on. Alright, so let's move on to our next tab. Our next tab is the effects, and this is where all the magic happens. This is where what you need to do to use to add different stuff to your clips. So in this case, I'm going to select the very first clip, and we're going to add an effect. By clicking here on the top button, I can reveal a bunch of different options. So we have the color overlay, gradient overlay, image overlay, and I can just stack an image on top of this one. So in this case, we're gonna do a color adjustment. So let's find one cool. I'm gonna do Technicolor. That just adds like some Technicolor movie magic there, and I can keyframe if I wanted enable or on and off, but in this case we're gonna leave it all the way through in Technicolor. And let's move on to our next clip, the beach, and we're gonna add an effect to this one here. And for this one we're gonna add a let's see, in this one we're gonna I see some brightness here. Let's see how the anamorphic lens work in this one. Oh, I was just gonna drag and drop, but no, I just need to click on it, and wow, that's too crazy, right? But I can control, by clicking on it, I can control the amount. So I can lower the amount. If I hold shift, I can go a little bit faster. So we can keyframe these, and now we're gonna add some keyframes. We're gonna go very high here. We're gonna go to probably 1, and then we're gonna hit the this stopwatch to give it a keyframe. And then we're gonna move in time around here, and then we're gonna give it another keyframe, and we're gonna hit 0 to remove it completely. Let's just see how that looks. I guess it's something. But yeah, let's take a look at our next clip, which is the Vegas one, and what can we add to this clip. So we can take a look at another some other stuff that we can add here. So maybe, you know, the fisheye effect would be good, and just give us like a weird looking. And we can also animate this, so we can animate the amount, and I can just go and move in time to the beginning and just give it a 0 value, and then just keyframe that, and then just move at the end and give it another keyframe, and this time just go crazy. I'm gonna hold shift, and then this I'm gonna do like this, and if we play it back over time, it's gonna animate. Since we are here, we're going to fix that sound. So it is very strong, so I'm just gonna click on it. I'm gonna go to my editor, and here under volume I can just lower the volume, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do it pretty low, like around 22. Let's just play back that. So wow, there you go, and that worked great. For this one I like the RGB effect, so we're gonna click on the clip, go to our effects tab, go to our effects button and find the one that says RGB shift. And what that does is just create a shift in three colors, in the red, green and blue. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do a keyframe for this one around here, and we're gonna start maybe with the 0 amount. We're gonna create a keyframe. We're gonna move in time around here, and we're gonna give it another keyframe, and this time we're gonna give it a lot. And then we're gonna move in time, and this we're gonna give it another keyframe, and we're gonna go back to 0. And if we play that back, we see how it animates over time, and it looks kind of weird, kind of cool. Let's move on to our next clip. This one also has a lot of noise, a lot of sound, wind. So we're gonna fix that first. We're gonna lower that volume, back to the edit, back to volume, and I'm gonna lower it around this much. And for this one, we're going to add another effect. Let's see. The glitch effect. Since this one moves a lot, I'm gonna add the glitch effect. And this is kind of cool. You can animate the amount, you can animate the displacement and speed, and if you want it on and off. So let's just do like on and off keyframe. So I'm gonna add a keyframe here where it says on, and then I'm gonna move to one where it says off. So if we begin in time, it's gonna have like a lot of, and then it doesn't have any, and then it doesn't have any glitches. Let's move to this one. This one we're not gonna add anything because this is the animation that we did, and then here we have the outro. And the outro has like some kind of letterbox, so I'm just going to add I'm gonna zoom it a bit just to get rid of that black stuff. So I'm going to go here and just a tiny bit, and then we can get rid of that. Alright, so I think we're ready to go in this, but we're gonna take a look at some other stuff that we have here on our media, and that's we can add text, we can add an adjustment layer, and we can add a 3D scene. An adjustment layer, if we stack it on top of two clips on our timeline, or whatever, how many clips we want, anything that we add to this layer is gonna affect everything in the clips beneath. If we add a 3D scene, that means that we can import 3D objects or use like 3D objects, the same as in Clip Maker. And if we have a text scene, a text layer, we can add whatever text we want. This is not 3D text, this is just a text layer. So let's add some text first. I'm going to move here. First, let me just check because I have all my notes here. Let me just move here. I have all my notes here for that one. So I'm just gonna drag a layer here, and we're gonna do I guess the one that I use for my background. I'm gonna use the same title. So I'm just gonna hit text 2, and I mean the editor here to change whatever text I want. So here I'm gonna call it video Panzoid first. Panzoid. And we're gonna hit enter. I'm going to make it bigger, shift to go faster, a little bit more. I'm going to move it to one side, and then I'm just going to go ahead back to my media, and I'm going to add another on top in a third video timeline that it just appeared, and I can change this text by going to the editor, and then we're going to go capabilities test. Alright, so that kind of works, and I'm gonna hit enter, and we're gonna change the font by clicking on the font options, and I think this is the one that we used the last time, and we use black here. Let's choose that black just like we did on our backgrounder thumbnail, and then select this one here, and this one here we're going to add it an effect to this one. Let's see if we can add a cutoff, color, position, scale, rotation, blending mode. Okay, so there's got to be a way to add what we're gonna do to get like some sort of drop shadow is that I'm gonna move this one up, so it's now in the 4th video, and here I'm gonna click on this text and I'm gonna click Alt to duplicate. I'm gonna click on this one and I'm gonna give it on the editor, I'm gonna give it a black color. I'm gonna choose that, and sorry, this one's gonna be white, choose, and this one here beneath is gonna be black, and we're gonna choose. And then this one here we're going to move a bit to the side, just a tiny bit, sorry, here, down, a tiny bit and a tiny bit to the side, and that's how we get our drop shadow. And this one in effects, now we can give it like a blur. I think I saw blur. There's no blur. Whew. So this one doesn't have any blur. Wavy, swirl, static, glitch. Yes. Oh, sorry, just click on it. I don't need to drag. And then just give it a little bit of blur here, and that's how it works. So now we have that. We have 3 layers of text, and it all works great. Maybe just give the top one a different color. Maybe just a bluish tone here. No, that's a darker. Yeah, there we go. And the cool thing is that we can also animate this. I'm not gonna animate the Panzoid one, but I'm gonna zoom here, hit the plus key just here to just get really close to my edits, and I'm going to expand the video part so that we can control our text here, and I'm gonna move all the way to the beginning here. I'm gonna use the arrows to find the very first key, and I'm gonna expand. I'm gonna move this one to this part, and this one here I'm going to move a little bit on to this side before the background, so around here I'm gonna cut it, and this one I'm going to expand, and this one I'm going to expand, and this one we're gonna give it a keyframe, a position keyframe. So I'm gonna place my line on the moment that I want the text to appear. So I'm gonna hit a position keyframe, and then I'm gonna move to the beginning, and I'm gonna add another position keyframe, and this time I'm gonna just move it out of the way, and that should work. Let's see what's going on. Oh, sorry, I think I added like a bunch of keyframes, so let's just delete that one and then just play it back, and there we go. And the cool thing is that these keyframes, if I move with the arrows, I can give it like an easing, maybe this one here, and then if I move with the arrow to this one, I can give it a cubic in, and then it's just gonna play nicer, you know, it just goes nicely. So very powerful stuff, if you ask me. That's very cool, very powerful stuff. Let's move on to the other stuff that we can add on our media options. So I'm just gonna add now an adjustment layer, and an adjustment layer basically, as I said before, if I drag it on my timeline, it's going to affect both clips beneath. So in this one I can also go here and add an effect. So I can add, for example, a let's add a gradient, and you know, it's gonna cover both. And to this gradient I can tell it maybe to blend, to multiply, but in this case let's just leave it as it was. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna animate like a cool transition there. We're gonna make it shorten on both sides just by dragging on each side, and then we're gonna add some keyframes here. So here I'm going to add an effect to that adjustment layer, and I'm going to tell it the cropping effect, which is the ones that let us the framing effects that let us control the different size of the image. So I'm just going to give it a crop, and this allows me to give a to the left side. So I'm just going to put a keyframe there, and I'm going to move in time to the beginning, and I'm just going to clear it out completely to the left side, and then I'm gonna move with the arrows to this one, and I'm gonna go to the right side, add a keyframe, move at the end, and I'm gonna add another keyframe, and this time I'm gonna make it disappear on this side. I don't know how that's gonna look, but I think it should work fine. I'm gonna place the timeline here, and I'm gonna hit play and see how that looks. Yeah, so we have a cool, nice transition. For example, for this intro, if I move at the beginning and we start right on this, if I add an effect here that may be a shutter effect, I can keyframe here the cover time, so I can add a keyframe there and just, oh sorry, I'm gonna return to my keyframe. I'm gonna make it completely open, and I'm gonna move to my beginning, and then I'm gonna add another keyframe, and I'm gonna make it completely closed, and that should work to open our scene. There we go. And there we go. We can see that we can add a lot of cool stuff to different effects, different stuff. So here we're gonna take a look at our last option, which is a 3D scene. So if I go ahead and drag my 3D scene here on top, like around here, if I click on it, another option is gonna appear, which is object. If I click on it, there's gonna be a camera already in place, and for perspective, and I can add a bunch of objects. So for example, I'm going to add a basic shape object. What the hell's a wire? Let's see. I'm gonna add one of these, and I can probably add a light. And this wire, I'm gonna give it a material. So here I have the same as in Clip Maker. So I'm gonna give it alien, which gives different texture, and I'm going to make it. I'm gonna scale it that way. I'm gonna scale it, and basically I'm gonna move it a little bit out of the way, and then this light, I can type the intensity. This one, the light is coming from down, so maybe if we go a little bit up, we'll be in the middle, like there. That looks kind of cool. And I'm gonna give it a keyframe here at the beginning, but I'm gonna put it far away. So I'm gonna change the position of my shape just a tiny bit further away. Shift 2. Okay, just go here, and I'm going to add a position keyframe, and go all the way here, and I'm going to move it in time, goes into the light, and it kind of looks cool there. Oof. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, so there we go. We have a 3D object in our timeline, and everything's working nice. It's playing nice. I mean, it's fairly good. Let's just remove this audio again. On link, click on the audio and delete. And let's go ahead and just put it back the way it was, because we're gonna add our audio. So I think grind is the one that we want to use. I'm gonna drag and drop it on my A2 part, and I'm gonna wait for the waveform to appear. I'm going to go to the end. Let me just see if we need to cut it just a tiny bit here to make it work, and then just here, and I'm just going to use this option to delete that part, and then we're gonna give it a fade in. I don't know, let me see. No need for a fade in. Let's see at the end. We need a fade in here. So we're gonna add some keyframes here in the editor to select this, and to the editor, and we're gonna change the volume. So I'm gonna hit the volume here, and I'm gonna move in time, and this time I'm gonna give it a 0 value, and that should lower. Yeah, just spread it out a bit. And if we wanted to, we could add a shutter effect to this one at the end. Let's just do it quickly. So we just go here, add effect, we go to cropping, and we do a shutter, and then we just click on it, we open it all the way, so we go 0, and then we add a keyframe there, and then we move in time and we add another keyframe, and this time we give it a value of 1, and there we go, we have a nice fade out. Let's do it radial to see how that looks at the end. Yeah, that kind of works. Cool. So we have everything. We saw all the possibilities that we have. I think I've spoken for about 30 minutes. So we're gonna wrap this up by going to the next step, which is export. We have two options. If you're logged in, you can do cloud render, and that means that you can get more options in terms of your render quality and extension. So you can get an MP4 from here, but in this case I'm going to use device render because I'm not logged in, and my settings are correct. The quality sounds good because we're gonna upload this to YouTube later on, so I want it to be good. I have two options, .mkv and .webm. I don't know what this one looks like. I've never even used it, but I use .mkv and seems to work pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the start button. I'm gonna pause this video and I'm gonna get back to you when the video is done. Thank you. It's finished. It's finished, the render. So I don't know how long it took, but I was away for about 10 minutes. So yeah, pretty cool. Like about 10 minutes for a 1-minute video. That's cool in full HD. And now I'm just gonna hit the download your video button. It's gonna open another tab and it's going to download the rendered video onto my computer. I'm gonna go to my downloads. I'm gonna click on it and check it out. Let's put my headphones. So as you can see, this thing render all the effects, no problems. I think you should hit the higher quality so that you can get a tiny bit better quality. But this overall, it's pretty good for what we do. Look, the 3D object and everything. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty good stuff. So one thing I like to do to get it ready for YouTube is that I'm just gonna open Handbrake, because that MKV it's not a friendly YouTube upload codec. So I'm gonna turn this into a .mp4, and I'm gonna go ahead and the settings are the ones that I want. I'm gonna say that this is gonna be okay, I'm gonna give it fast and then we'll decide later on. I'm gonna browse and I'm gonna put it there, fast, final, and save it there, and I'm gonna render that, and that it's ready to go on YouTube. So that's pretty much all for what we did. We did a very complex edit, a 1-minute edit, and you saw that everything played nicely, that I was able to move about the app without any problems, without any delays. So it's very powerful. I recommend that you use it for basic stuff. I like to have it here from now on my browser, and whenever I log into my Chrome account, I can have it in any computer, anything, and I can just edit something quickly if I need to. If I need to add a cool title and some music and some stuff, I know that this is a very fast way to do it.
Thank you for watching. Check out this video and don't forget to subscribe for more content.